students, welcome to episode 53 of the Film Student Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Lazzeroni. My guest this week is Alex Felder from the Yellow Cohort. We talk about how he made the choice to leave New York City for Chicago, the cohesiveness of the Yellow Cohort, and he pitches his Ninja Turtles-inspired film about leeches. Yeah, leeches. On with the show.
I've been doing comedy for a while, mostly improv, for like 13 years. And when I was in college, the improv community at WashU, there were like three main groups where we were all friends. One of my good friends, Danny Marshall.
Yep, former guest.
Former guest, yeah, you know him well. He went, after he graduated, we graduated at the same time, he went straight to Chicago to do this program. And I helped him with his intro video. So I kind of knew about the program a little bit. But I was like, I'm going to New York to do some stuff. So I went to New York, and I just felt, I don't know, he kept sending me scripts, and I would read them, and I was like, oh, he's really improved, like, in his writing.
Yeah.
And then I heard that my friends Matt and Lucas were also applying, and I was like, well, I got to apply at least and see if I get in, and I didn't feel like I was making much headway in New York, so...
What were you doing in New York?
I was mainly just trying to survive, and I was studying at the Magnet Theater.
Okay.
And I was interning there. I got a lot of good training there. I recommend it. If anybody's in New York looking for improv or sketch or just want to see a good show, go check out the Magnet Theater.
It's a cool theater. I got to perform there for DCM
nice.
a few years
Yeah.
ago. 2016, 2015,
I did a shift at DCM overnight.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It's so sad that that's not going to be in New York anymore.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They moved it to LA, and they now have barred teams outside of LA from...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's LA teams and the New York teams from UCB. Like, those are the only ones that...
Man.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Come on, UCB.
It's really disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's killing off, I think, one of the best like improv events in the country.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
So you're doing that kind of stuff and decided needed a change and came out this way.
Yeah, and I got in and I was like, oh man, well, and then I learned that Lucas and Matt both got in as well, and so we were in the same class, and I was like, well, this has got to be, this is a sign, right, or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I learned about this place and came here.
And you've been making stuff for a while.
Yeah, I've been performing for a long time. I did some film stuff in high school, and I did some like sketch stuff in college. Really though, this film program is the first time that I myself am trying to produce and direct, and like I've been more on the writing, acting side for this, I think. Although I've had experience. Like yeah.
And because I know with Danny, he told me that you all had worked on a handful of things before coming in here. So you had I think that's interesting that you're coming in with a background of people that you already had a connection with and had the ability to work with on a regular basis, because you don't have that getting to know you phase quite the same way for everybody else. I mean, you still do for the rest of your class, but. Right? And that's been really awesome. I always love getting to know like people, especially in like a class like improv setting. Or comedy or whatever. And I really like this cohort. The Yellow Cohort is just full of awesome people. Yeah.
And beyond, like I came here with like a group of people that I knew were going to be here, that I knew from WashU and from like the improv theater community. And we're like working on some other stuff. But I was like, I just have boundless gratitude for my classmates. I love them so much. They're all hilarious, super creative people, and we all have different skill sets, and it's awesome.
Yeah. And so what kind of stuff are you looking to do in the long run? Like what's your bend?
I think so ultimately I just want to have some semblance of happiness in my life. I'd like
the first person to put it that way. Like everybody else is like, I want to make this, I want to do this, that, and the other. You're like, I just want to be happy.
I'd like to write something that I like have a hand in writing, and also like on the performance side. Like everybody has like their stories that they want to tell and stuff, and but I think like ultimately I just want to support myself doing what I love, and this is like the main thing that I do and my main skill set. And sometimes I feel like I literally can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But I think if I could get famous, that'd be awesome.
Happiness and fame. Those are your two things that you're aimed towards.
American dream.
But so you want to be more on the writing performer side?
Yeah, I think my skill set is leaning definitely towards more creative. Although I've been trying to push myself more on the technical side here, which has been really cool. Like editing is something that before I made my cover letter or my cover video.
Yeah.
I had never really. I'd always wanted to edit, but it always had kind of eluded me. I never really delved deep into what editing is.
Well, it's such a collaborative form that you can't, unless you go make all the other stuff and learn how to do camera and writing and all that, like you don't have anything to edit. Like it's not like there's just things that you can go out and reach out in the world and edit together.
Yeah. Which has been really cool in this program, just being forced to make stuff and then like make something out of it.
So what have you made so far?
So I've made some videos.
What? In a film school you made some videos?
Yeah, I made some mostly short things. Well, yes, all of them have been very short. I think the longest thing I made was around 6 minutes and 20 seconds, and that was very long for the assignment. That was just a recent thing that I made, the assignment where Dale gives us footage.
What footage did you end up with?
I ended up with Visitor from the East, the one about the guy whose wife has a client from Japan who wants to watch them have sex.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I edited that together into this like really long and like sad story about this man whose wife has a reality TV show and she's an alcoholic and she leaves him, and then like he kind of is just living the rest of his life and he's like not happy.
So you reassigned how the story was set up based on the footage that you had. Okay.
Yeah. I also was just messing around. I tried to troll my class. The first time around, it was like very subtextual.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody really got it. And they kind of tore me apart in class. But the fine cut, I think, was a lot better.
It's tough when you have to try and pull a performance that's not there from the footage and like somehow bolster that with other things.
But it was really fun. I had a great time editing it. So, and it kind of taught me like subtext is good, but sometimes you need to give them something to hang on to.
What'd you end up doing for that for the nonfiction?
Oh, the humorous documentary thing? So my idea was, are you familiar with Mega Man?
Yes.
So when I was a kid, I used to play Mega Man X with my brother a lot. And they had just released a new like legacy collection pack or something, and I wanted to play it with my friends, Lucas and Matt. And they were like into playing it, but not really. So I was just I like pitched this to the class. I was like, oh, it's a documentary about a guy who wants to play this dumb game with his friends, and they don't really want to play. And then he realizes that it's actually not that he wants them to play; it's that he's afraid to play himself because his older brother, always played for him. And he's like, he has to take control of his life. So that was the idea. And it's still not really finished because I had to cut out a lot of the game footage to get it under. And I never like recorded the commentary I wanted to make over and Dale didn't like it in my review.
There's a lot that Dale doesn't like. So
yeah, but no, he made
keep
good
that
points.
in mind.
But yeah, I think it turned out okay. My brother, who was based on, liked it. So
okay, well, that's
good enough for me.
Well, and you'd already been in one film by that point in time too, because you were in Danny's final film.
I was in his final film, which was a really cool experience for me.
Yeah, I edited that one together for him, and it's interesting having met you. I'm doing air quotes through the film before ever meeting you in person, because the character in the film is totally different than you are.
Yeah,
so you pulled that off of hiding behind a character.
Well, good to know.
but no, it was it's such a weird film. Is that kind of stylistically like what you're going towards? Is that same sort of thing, or what's your humor angle?
I have a lot more of like an abstract sense of humor. I think Danny is I think he finds humor in like the kind of mundane, ridiculous things in life. And he has like a really like fast paced kind of like style of writing.
Jokes on jokes on jokes on
right,
jokes on
right.
jokes
It's
on
like
jokes.
bits on bits, yeah. Whereas I'm still kind of like honing in on my specific angle, but I think I like to make things that either the humor comes from like intensity applied to like just a dumb situation, or like low stakes made into a high stakes situation.
Okay.
By just like emotional intensity or just like it's kind of like an approach that I think is similar to like an acting approach to improv. It's like the humor comes from reality and like truth and comedy and stuff
You would be the character that sees from across the room that the toast is about to fall on the floor, and you turn it into a whole action sequence of you running up to try and save it before it hits the floor.
Right. Yes. That's a very good example.
You're writing this down.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also think sometimes that life's a huge joke.
Yeah.
So I find a lot of things funny. Like this the thing that I edited together for Dale was like sad, but I thought it was so hilarious because it's like I created this meaning out of like nothing.
Yeah.
And to me that's really funny. I don't know. I'm still like trying to explain it to myself.
For mine, I wound up getting video that didn't have audio for it. Yeah. And so I wound up doing a bad lip reading, like redub of all the audio, and just like I didn't even necessarily focus on making it a story. I just tried to make like each sequence funny.
Yeah.
And then sort of did a story as
Yeah.
I was like just trying to make something that made some semblance of sense. And like half the joke for it was the credits. Like I have like a run on credits bit with like the song Closing Time playing, and
yeah,
that's dumb.
Also something I find really funny is like that kind of like the film The Piano over there. That's Lauren Hardy, right?
That one, yes, yeah.
I'm thinking they're trying to get the piano up the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's just so long, and it drags on for so long, and I think that kind of stuff is really funny.
Yeah.
As well, just like kind of messing with the audience.
Is that who are your influences going for comedy that?
I think I'm influenced by a lot of people. When I was growing up, this isn't really like this is less of a comedic influence and more of a just like I like his charisma and him as a musician. But Jack Black, I love.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
Tenacious
hilarious. Yeah, Tenacious D is my jam. So they say. Also like Eric Andre, Andy Kaufman type stuff.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to wrestle women like Andy Kaufman, but because that's weird. But I think just like committing super hard.
But everything
and, like,
else they do is totally normal.
Right. Yeah. Like just bending like what is reality and what is the bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm anything.
How do you feel about like Nathan Fielder?
I love Nathan Fielder.
Like Nathan, for you, it seems like something you would be.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. Sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, is he taking advantage of these people? But I don't know. I have no idea.
I think he feels bad about it too. I was actually watching something, not for Nathan for you, but I was listening to an interview that had Helms, and he was talking about how he. They were asking what was it like to do all the field pieces, because that's what he became known for at the Daily Show, was all these field pieces. And he said the best advice I got was when I first got there. Stephen Colbert said like just hang your dignity at the door or something like that. It's like or hang your sympathy, I think is what it was. Hang your sympathy at the door, and just like you just have to be brutal.
You gotta
in order to make that stuff work,
and it works. It's so good.
Yeah, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
But so what have you gotten so far out of this? I mean, you obviously working on the technology, getting used to running the camera, that sort of thing. But what's been useful?
So that stuff I think has been very useful to me. The technical side, just coming from having less knowledge of that. But also, I think the main thing has just been like building my sense of like collaboration. Because it's one thing to. Like I've written with people before, but it's so hard sometimes to actually collaborate.
Yeah.
So I think like meeting everybody in my cohort and kind of learning everyone's strengths and like when you're a leader like on set, it's not just like I know how to do everything.
Right.
It's like what people are good at and what you can like who to trust with what job and stuff like that, which I think has been really interesting. To like I don't have that much directing experience, but that kind of stuff I think has been very beneficial. like just because I don't feel comfortable in leadership roles.
Yeah.
So making myself do that kind of stuff and delegate, I think has been really built. What's the word I'm looking for? It's built character. Confidence and character for me. And also editing, I think, has been a huge boon. Like just having stuff to having assignments, because I will otherwise I'm bad at motivating myself. Mm-hmm. So the external factors and deadlines and stuff like that. Yeah. I think a lot of people feel like that.
But you also have to realize there's no grades. So I think that was something I got from was just this idea that, I do have to be self-motivated, and I'm kind of the same way. I need some sort of a deadline. I was always doing 48-hour and 72-hour film festivals and stuff like that just to have a deadline that something had to be turned in. Then I got here and realized I was busting my ass for my own benefit. I wasn't actually, if you don't turn stuff in, you still pass. That's the sad part. Yeah. But it's interesting then to see how people adapt to that. Some will take it and think about it I have to do everything under the sun and do it really fucking well. Yeah. And other people will be a little bit more lackadaisical about it and just be kind of semi-present but they get what they need to out of it.
Right. But also I feel seeing who will work hard for this non-graded assignment and who kind of doesn't take it seriously and how people react to that. Yep. And who they want to work with and stuff like that has been really educational for me because it kind of you have to be reliable, but you also have to you want people to want to work with you. You have to be easy to work with and stuff like that, which isn't just being a nice person, right? But also that helps. I don't know. Have
you been keeping up with the 10 ideas a week thing?
I think I usually not really, not really, but I do I write stuff down as I think of it in my phone or whatever I can find.
So you have a running list of ideas.
Yeah, I have a ton of terrible ideas on my phone. That's what they say is you got to get the 1 in 100.
You were saying you don't have your idea yet for your final projects, either one of those, but what stuff do you have that you might do? You got to have something that's a potential.
Okay. So in my adaptation class, I pitched this idea. So he gave us our assignment to come up with an idea to adapt. Mm-hmm. And mine was I just from the public domain, there's a movie called Attack of the Giant Leeches.
Okay.
And I haven't actually, I still need to watch the movie, but I read the synopsis and I was like, this would be kind of funny because it's a story about these two radioactive leeches that start terrorizing this town and kidnap people and drain their blood, and the game warden has to go and find them and track them down and stuff. So I was like, wouldn't it be kind of funny if it was a dark comedy where these leeches are mutated and they kind of, their personalities are like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they think they're these super fun, cowabunga guys, but then they're actually murdering people and terrorizing this town. And the game warden to them, in their world, is this park ranger in Yogi Bear type, who's wagging his finger at him. But then from his perspective, it's this super dark mystery psychological thriller.
So is it an anti-hero story where you're following the leeches, or is it told from the townspeople side perspective?
I think it's mostly told from the leeches' point of view, but you get glimpses of the game warden's perspective, in particular. Not necessarily the whole town, but just it kind of a Jaws-esque story of the game warden trying to find these leeches, and then they're just messing around and eating pizza or whatever. I don't know.
You can just cop Ninja Turtles and just put it straight pizza on top of it. But yeah, they're really into I don't know, blood sausage.
yeah, that works. I'm writing it down with the other thing.
Yeah, with the notepad that's invisible in front of you. Yep. So what's it been like? I'm interested for you. What's it been like in Mossman's class? Because you had him in term 1, and I don't know if you get him in term 3 or not.
I'm not sure. Mossman is a super cool guy.
Yeah.
I love Mossman, and I think I had a good experience in his class because I got to stage some when he gives us the it's okay, I'm going on tangents, but
that's fine.
I will say it is a little frustrating sitting in these chairs all day, the like slanted chairs.
Yes.
When we do have like everybody's scenes in order and it's like we're giving feedback, like it can be a little frustrating. But I feel like I personally really benefited from that because I got to stage this scene that I wrote that wasn't funny. It was like a dramatic scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really educational for me because it was like, okay, like what parts are people laughing at? Like what parts do I not intend for them to laugh? Like stuff like that. Like, oh, I need to cut this stuff down. And also working with actors, I was fortunate enough to have the illustrious Tyle Bivens and Stuart Highcar in my scene. And they were
was that
really great.
planned, or did you have outside people and then had to switch because people bailed?
I just didn't even try to get outside actors. I just was like, you two. I can't remember if that was just because I was short on time or I just was being lazy. But
this term you have to actually get people for a film.
And I've actually already have someone for a scene in Hancock's class.
Who do you have?
So I got this guy. So I'm doing the scene from Mean Girls, the Kevin G rap.
Okay.
So I got this guy, Kevin Veloso, who auditioned for us. And he came in and read on Friday. And Kevin, if you're listening, you did a great job. It was super great. It was very fun. You're easy to work with. And,
you'll have to forward this to him.
Look forward to seeing you on the 14th. Or whenever the next thing is.
On Valentine's Day?
I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm going to date you, Kevin. So look out. I'll see you on Valentine's Day.
Is it just a one-person scene?
Yeah. I mean, I have some like backup like hype men.
Okay.
But
so there are other people. Yeah.
But he's the only one with it's just the rap. It's literally just the rap from
interesting
from Mean Girls.
I feel like I think they changed those up like what
it was in the database of scenes we could pick, so
I don't know that it was for us. I think they've changed some of them out cuz like we had a handful of people that did the scene from Bridesmaids, but it's or did scenes from Bridesmaids, and the two scenes we had were the airplane scene with Melissa McCarthy and then and also
classic
like the lunch scene with
in the diner.
Yeah. Or I think it's a restaurant technically in that one, but yeah.
Oh yeah, the diner scene is a different scene. There were a bunch of Bridesmaid scenes in there. I think you might have added some.
Okay.
But I was looking through them, and a lot of them were already picked by the time I looked at it.
Do they make you choose different ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. See, we didn't. We had like multiple people that were doing the same scene. I think he
probably was like last time we got a lot of people doing the same scenes. So he had Kurt Jolly. Shout out, love you. He was our TA, and he's also in our class. And he
in class TA.
Yeah. He told us that we couldn't pick the same scene. And I was looking in there, and I saw the Kevin G rap, and I was like, this is a page, and it's just rap. So I picked it.
So you were going for simplicity over.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna do this scene from Lost in Translation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit more complicated, but then Lise Graham, shout out to Lise, stole my scene. So
shout out to her for stealing the scene and forcing you to do something easier.
Yeah. But
jerk.
Kevin, if you're listening, we're gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And so so that's one idea for your final. That would be the written. Going back to the leeches idea. That's your. Is that would that be a series or a feature?
What do you think?
It's the kind of idea that's in that vein that it could be mini-series-esque.
Yeah.
And go, I mean, I could see it working for something like a Stranger Things vibe that you could do it as a series, but that would be like a binge series where it's really just like a long movie.
Right.
Like I think the interesting thing I got from some of our, it was actually from the comedic literature class, was this idea that, or no, not that, pardon me, it was from adaptation, but talking about how if you're adapting something, a feature film is actually like a short story. Not
television
a novel.
is more.
And so often, like they're trying to adapt novels into it, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, this is missing,
right.
like Harry Potter."
Right.
Like there's a ton of stuff that's in the books that is not in the films.
Yeah.
And it's just because there's literally not enough time in 90 minutes to cover, 500 pages worth of information.
Yeah.
It's really more of a short story, so you end up having to kind of like almost pull anecdotes from the book,
right, or paraphrase stuff
exactly, and then build the film around that. So. But I feel like there's a theme nowadays with Netflix shows and anything that's binge watch, that you can do something that would be like a mini series in the past.
Yes.
But treat it as a full run series.
Like what's it called? The one with the sci-fi show on Netflix that they adapted from that hard science fiction novel
from is it Black Mirror? Or?
No, not Black Mirror. It has the guy who's in Suicide Squad. I can't remember his name. He plays. It's the one where people, like, your consciousness is stored in the base of your neck, in the back of your neck, and they put that into different bodies. And
interesting. I don't even know what that one is.
I want to say Shattered Dimensions, but that's the name of a Spider-Man game on the Xbox 360.
Just mixing your pop culture
it's
references
called,
entirely.
Oh man, I got to look this up.
Do it.
All right,
I'm
looking it up right now.
But yeah, and I just watched the first season of Russian Doll. It was
that looks good.
Natasha Lyonne wrote, directed, stars in it, and then Amy Poehler produced it.
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
And it's weird, but it's something that you couldn't watch it out of order and have it make any semblance of sense. Like it's already not tough to follow, but it's already challenging to follow. From the first episode watching through. And I always think of like episodic as something that you could sit down and pick up any episode and get it. Like you can sit down and watch any episode of Seinfeld and it works. Any episode of The Office and it works. It's built standalone. And there is an overarching story, but you're not stuck
less important than the story of that episode. Right.
It's
Altered Carbon, by the way.
Altered Carbon. Okay, yeah. But
shout out.
but trying to make something now that, like with the story you're talking about, it could be done in a film and treat it like The Toxic Avenger or something, from that era.
Yeah.
But you could also do it episodic and have it be a much longer arc where we can see the full origin story and we can see, kind of the episode of getting to know our characters and the episode where, turn in the plot of this thing happens and then maybe down the road they one of them learns that that they're actually the evil ones in this and not the good guys, or
they have to deal with that.
Yeah, and so you could tell that full story depending on your path into it.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, it is going to be episodic.
Okay, that's your thought.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking this whole time. Yeah. So,
but you're thinking like hour long or half hour?
I think like it would work as like 20-minute shorts. Like I'm almost thinking of this like an animated show. Like I feel like it's like a mixture of TMNT and Yogi Bear, and then like Batman animated series for the Game Warden.
Okay.
If it was animated, otherwise it would just be like big rubber suits, more campy, but still pretty short episodes.
Okay. Interesting.
If it was not animated though, I think it might work better as a feature.
Yeah, or I still, especially after Stranger Things,
That's true.
Sci-fi stuff for a
maybe
limited arc series.
Maybe I'll get 10 episodes, hour-long episodes, and just really make it like very philosophical. And
I think the thing to do is to go through and outline what would the first episode be, and then just write it out and ignore constraints of how many pages you're running.
Yeah. And just see where it goes.
Because if you write the first episode and it comes out to 45 pages, well then hour-long episodes or mini-series is probably where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing with my feature. I wrote it, and I got to a point where I had feedback on like going back and changing things, and I just didn't. I just went through and finished it to the end. And I thought it was going to be 120 pages. It wound up being like 103 or 105 or something like that off the first draft, and I'm up to like 110-ish now.
That's cool.
But it's not where I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't necessarily have that mindset of what these 3 scenes equate to on paper.
Yeah.
And figuring out what that runtime was actually going to be.
Yeah.
And so it winds up being different. It's not even always shorter. Sometimes it's just different.
Yeah.
That you'll think like, oh, this scene will take 2 minutes, and then 5.5 minutes in.
Yeah. You're just writing. You're like, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this scene is 10 pages long.
I am failing at all of this.
Yeah.
Well, I envy your class in general too, because you were talking about the video game thing. Like you guys have bonded, it seems, over gaming. how many times I've seen you all playing different games in the building.
Yes. I mean, not all of us are gamers, but we're all very supportive of each other. I think I organized that Super Smash Brothers tournament, and there's going to be another one if if people would fill out the when is good. The original people, all the new people that have added have been great about the Violet Cohort.
Yeah.
Very great about filling out the when is good. Yellow Cohort.
The when is good. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to schedule the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a few people in our class that are down to play video games. But mostly, I think everybody like for example, Kurt and Emily and Tom Hannigan do not play Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
But we're willing to enter the tournament. Just because they're good, they're great people.
Yeah,
they wanted to come hang out.
I would enter, and I would suck too.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I've never seen you play.
No, I played for the first time on because I'm not used to Switch. I'm not used to the controls. Like the last time I played Smash Brothers was GameCube.
Yeah, well, you can use the GameCube controller on the Switch.
Yeah, but it's still different.
It's a different game.
It's not about even the controller interface. It's about it is a different game, and there's other characters and there's
a lot of new characters.
There's a shit ton of them.
Yeah,
and they're characters I've never heard of.
Yeah, what is this 8-bit 2-dimensional man on the screen?
I think the best I did when I was playing, because I played at Kyle Montagna, who is producer of the news. I went over to his place the other day after the news. After meeting, I can't remember, something. And we were playing for a little while. And it's the first time I've played on Switch, and I'm terrible, but the Wii Fit woman.
The Wii Fit trainer, yeah.
Yeah, the Wii Fit trainer is the only one that I was able to live for a period of time.
She's hilarious. Just it's time to stretch our legs.
And then just generates a soccer ball and
it spikes you, yeah. Well, if you'd like to enter the tournament, I can send you the link to the when is good.
Yeah, let me know. Especially if it's in the evenings. I'm starting a new 9 to 5.
Nice.
Tomorrow, which when this episode goes up will be today.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if anybody would like to hire me,
where can they find you if they want to find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Alex Felder. And that's pretty much it.
You don't have Instagram or anything?
I don't have Instagram or Twitter. I probably should get some. Get some of those.
How are you a millennial?
I'm an old soul.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
And that was Alex Felder. Thank you to Alex and to the Harold Ramis Film School and the Second City staff for their help. The song on this week's episode was BS by Cathy D off her new EP, Nostalgiaddict. Find it now on iTunes and Spotify. The show is recorded and edited by me, Tony Lazzeroni. If you want to hear more from me and my classmates, teachers, and a few special guests, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you have questions or comments, send us an email at filmstudentpod@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Instagram at filmstudentpod. And be sure to check out some of my and my classmates' work at filmstudentpod.com, where you can also find links to all of our past episodes. See you all next week. Class dismissed.